Okay, so everyone is watching Bridgerton Season 4 Part 2 for the romance. The dresses, the tension, the slow burn. I get it. But do you know that underneath all of that, there is something happening that has nothing to do with love? There is a psychological thing going on that most people are completely missing. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. So stay with me here, because this is about to get interesting. We all wear masks. Every single one of us. You put on a different version of yourself at work, around your parents, around strangers. Carl Jung called this the persona. It is the face you show the world so people accept you. Now here is the thing about Benedict Bridgerton. He falls in love with a woman in a literal mask. Think about that for a second. The woman's face is hidden. He cannot see who she is, and he has completely gone for her. Why? I'm telling you that the answer has nothing to do with the woman. It has everything to do with Benedict himself. Today, we are going to break down what is actually happening in this story, because it is not a love story. It is a story about identity. Two people trying to figure out who they are underneath all the costumes. Let's talk about Benedict first. He is the second son, not the heir, not the spare with a purpose. He is just sort of there. He paints, he drifts, he goes to parties, and feels nothing. Sound familiar? Jung had a name for this type of person. The Puer Aeternus. That is Latin for eternal youth. And no, it is not a compliment. It describes someone who is talented, free, no real responsibilities, but completely empty inside. They keep chasing the next feeling, the next person, the next experience, thinking that this time something will click. Benedict is that guy. He has all the freedom in the world, and he does not know what to do with it. And what is it that you've done before now when you felt like that? You chased something. You fell for someone who felt exciting. You told yourself it was love. But really, you were looking for a part of yourself you thought was missing. That is exactly what Benedict is doing with the lady in silver. He is not chasing her. He is chasing a feeling. But here is where it gets uncomfortable. Because that woman in the mask, Sophie, she knows exactly what she is doing. And whether the show frames it this way or not, the psychology behind it is actually a little dark. I will get to that in a second. Sophie holds all the power in that ballroom, not because she is bold or loud, because she says almost nothing. She hides, and by hiding, she becomes whatever Benedict needs her to be. He cannot see her clearly, so his mind fills in the blanks. He projects his ideal onto her. It is the unconscious feminine side that lives inside every man. When a man meets a woman and feels like she is the one, sometimes he is not actually seeing her. He is seeing his own anima reflected back at him. She becomes a screen. He projects the movie. You understand that this is actually what happens in a lot of real relationships, right? You fall for someone fast. You feel like they complete you. Then you start to actually know them with all their flaws and bad habits and contradictions, and the feeling fades. That is not because love died. That is because the projection broke. The mask fell. Now, I'm not saying Sophie is doing this on purpose, but there is a thing about withholding and seduction that is very real. Mystery creates attraction. Silence forces the other person to imagine, and what we imagine is always more perfect than reality. In real life, falling for someone's mystery is often falling for a mirror. You are seeing yourself, and that is dangerous. Real connection starts when the mask comes off, and both people are still standing there. Now, here is what most people will not say about this show. The class stuff, the maid versus the aristocrat, that is not just a plot device. That is shadow work. The world of the ton, the fancy dinners, the rigid rules, the perfectly pressed suits, that is all persona. Fake, performative, maintained for appearances. Sophie's world is the opposite. It is raw, real, unglamorous. In Jungian terms, that is the shadow. The parts of yourself you were told to hide because they were not acceptable. The messy and true parts. There are different ways to read what Benedict is going through, and they include a man running from responsibility, searching for meaning, or a man slowly realizing that everything he was taught to value is hollow. For Benedict to actually become a full person, he has to stop pretending that status matters more than truth and accept Sophie, with her background and her reality. He has to integrate his shadow, and that is the hardest thing a person can do, because it means killing the version of yourself that other people approve of. So now step back, look at your own life. How much of your personality right now is actually you? And how much of it is the costume you put on so people would accept you? How many times have you fallen for someone's energy, their vibe, their mystery, only to find out you were in love with who you needed them to be? You have to understand that this is what most relationships start as: a projection, a hope, a mask meeting another mask. The work, the real work, is staying when the masks come off. Here is the question Bridgerton Season 4 is actually asking. Are you in love with a person, or are you in love with a fantasy? Are you showing up in your own life as yourself, or as the version of yourself that gets the most applause? Sophie spends her whole story trying to reclaim who she is outside of her circumstances. Benedict spends his trying to figure out if he is brave enough to want what is real over what looks good. Your choice of words when you describe someone you love will tell you a lot about whether you are seeing them or projecting onto them. If you catch yourself saying things like, "She is different," "He is a mystery," "I cannot explain it," that is worth sitting with. Because the Cinderella story was never about a shoe. It was always about whether you are willing to see someone clearly when the magic wears off, and whether you are willing to be seen. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this.